7th meeting of 2025 and the 36th regular meeting of the current term of the Metropolitan Council of Nashville and Davidson County. Will all members of the council, as well as the public, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation is being offered this evening by District 31 Council Member, Mr. John Rutherford. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. I had a wonderful invocation speaker picked out for us tonight, but due to unforeseen circumstances, she was unable to join us. Some of you have heard me talk about Melissa Thomas. She is the CEO of the branch of Nashville, which is a wonderful faith-based nonprofit organization. They're a food bank, and they do a number of other things as well for the community, just doing really, really valuable work in Southeast Nashville and really beyond as well. So I just talked to Melissa, and I asked her if she would to take the words that she was going to say tonight and to send to all of us so that you'll still hear from her in that regard. And she sends her regrets that she was unable to join us. But I will open with a brief prayer for us. So if you would please bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, as we gather for this meeting, unite our hearts and minds in common purpose. Grant us the wisdom to work together effectively and the humility to value each person's perspective. Guide our discussions and decisions that they may honor you and serve our shared goals. It's in his name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may all be seated. Thank you, Councilmember Rutherford. All right, welcome, council and community members. We wish the Nashville Jewish community a Hag Pesach Sameach, a happy Passover holiday this week. It is also Holy Week for many of Nashville's Christians, so we wish a happy Easter to all who celebrate this coming Sunday. Earth Month and Transit Month continue, and I want to encourage members of the community to ride the bus with me to the Earth Day Festival this Saturday at Centennial Park. To all those council members who rose to the Transit Together Challenge from Pro Tem Sepulveda by riding We Go Transit, to committee meetings yesterday, or to today's meeting, thank you for leading by example and sharing both the challenges and the possibilities of our improving system. I know we are all doing our best in a wide variety of ways in partnership with the Mayor's Office and our Metro departments to help build a transportation network that provides more choices for all Nashvillians. You can also join Pro Tem Sepulveda on April 26th with a ride to the Nashville SC game for the Greener Goals Sustainability Night. Council members, please do complete the participation survey sent to you last Thursday, ASAP by this Thursday, to help us plan for upcoming and future Transit Together partnerships with WeGo. And I will see y'all on the 3B bus again this Saturday. All right, without objection, we will suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to please record the names of the members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of the meeting of April 1st, 2025? Okay, properly moved and seconded without objection. And seeing no one seeking to be recognized for a change to the minutes. Okay, the minutes of the meeting of April 1st are approved. Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
There are no messages from the mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. The council is looking forward to hearing from the mayor at the 62nd Annual State of Metro Address at the Downtown Public Library at 10 o'clock on Thursday, May 1st. All right, I head right into our agenda. First, Section E, Appointees and Nominees. This portion of the agenda shares all persons that were scheduled to appear before the Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee this evening. Referrals back to the committee will be by rule as part of the council's two-meeting process for elections and confirmations. No votes will be taken in this section of the agenda other than for deferrals. Chair Prep T, your committee report, please, sir.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. With regards to the Work Release Board, reappointment of Ron Parham, as well as the Work Release Board reappointment of Father Edward Steiner, we voted 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for a 1-meeting deferral, respectively.
Okay, and that's for both folks. Is that correct for both?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Would you just then make, please, a consolidated motion for that deferral?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion on that deferral for those folks? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, so those folks will hopefully be back with us for their interview part of the process at our next meeting. Okay, next, Chair Prep T, brief summary report for your committee's report on the appointees in the second step of the process, please.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. The committee considered the Emergency Communications District E911 Board appointment of Brian Pettis, as well as the Fire and Building Code Appeals Board appointment of Amy Hardin, and voted 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting to approve. And with that, I move approval.
Okay, there is a motion, a consolidated motion to confirm these 2 appointees. Is there a second? Second. Okay, anybody seeking to separate this vote or otherwise to be recognized? Okay. Properly moved and seconded for the approval, or rather confirmation of the appointment of Brian Pettis and the appointment of Amy Hardin to the Fire and Building Codes Appeals Board. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay. All right, with that, we want to announce that council has confirmed Mr. Brian Pettis to the Emergency Communications District, the E911 Board. And we have also confirmed Ms. Amy Hardin to the Fire, Building, and Code Appeals Board. Are either Mr. Pettis or Ms. Hardin with us this evening? Okay, we will assume that they are watching from home, and so we want to thank them for their willingness to serve and express our congratulations to them on their confirmation. Thank you. All right. We're moving in to nominations. Okay. For all these calls for nominations, members will have received memos from me. We will take these in the order of our agenda. And so first, agenda item G1 regarding the Human Relations Commission. If members will please enter the queue to make a nomination for that vacancy. Ms. Gamble, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to nominate Jermaine Cole.
Okay, Council Member Gamble has nominated Jermaine Cole to the Human Relations Commission. Are any other members seeking to nominate a member of the community to fill this vacancy? Okay, seeing none, we will now move on to item G2 regarding the Cheatham County Rail Authority. If members would please enter the queue to make a nomination to fill that vacancy, please. Okay, Mr. Coupin, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Madam President, and this is contingent on this individual singing us a song sometime this night. But at the risk of nominating someone in someone else's district, I would like to nominate Joy Stiles.
Okay, there is a nomination from Councilman Coupin of Council Member Joy Stiles to serve on, or rather continue to serve, I believe, on the Cheatham County Rail Authority. Are any other members seeking to nominate someone to fill this vacancy? Seeing none, And I think we're going to just move to hands instead of getting in the queue. We're going to move to G3, Nashville and Eastern Rail Authority. Would any member seeking to make a nomination there, please raise their hand? Okay, Mr. Huffman, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Aaron Evans for that.
Okay. Councilmember Huffman has nominated Councilmember Aaron Evans to fill the vacancy on the Nashville and Eastern Rail Authority. Again, I believe that is to continue to serve. Thank you, Councilmember Huffman. Okay. And then lastly, there is one vacancy, item G4, on our Procurement Standards Board. If any council member is seeking to make a nomination, please raise your hand. Go ahead, Mr. Kapp, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I nominate Sarah Martin.
Okay. Mr. Kapp has nominated Sarah Martin to fill a vacancy on the Procurement Standards Board. Ms. Webb, did you seek to be recognized as well? Okay.
Yes, I nominate Bob Braswell.
Okay. Councilmember Webb has nominated Bob Braswell. Is that correct? Okay. And Councilmember Kimbrough, you're recognized for a nomination to the Procurement Standards Board.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to nominate Roger Ligon.
Okay. Councilmember Kimbrough has nominated Roger Ligon to be considered for the vacancy on the Procurement Standards Board. Okay. Mr. Clerk will reach out to your nominees to request their information, and we will take that up at a future meeting. Thank you for your nominations. Okay, we will close that section of our agenda, and we will now move on to section 8 of our agenda, the public comment period. Members of the public who are Tennessee residents wishing to speak at public comment may sign up at the table outside the council chamber from 5 to 6 p.m. on the day of a council meeting. The public comment is limited to 20 minutes total, and each speaker is allowed up to 2 minutes to speak. Persons speaking on agenda items in compliance with state law must be prioritized. That said, this evening, we only have one person who has signed up for a public comment, and that person is Manon Hall, who has requested to speak on the topic of housing. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, it's good to see you all. Wow, only one. That's intimidating. I live in District 3. I came to address Nashville's most pressing issue, housing, and to ask for brave council members. Brave council members? Why brave? I was at the Capitol last Wednesday for Tennessee's first Transit Day on the Hill, and it went great. While they were one of Nashville's esteemed representatives used those words while in a meeting with us. The elected official said, we need to have brave council members and it will drive and advocate for more density, which can allow for better use of public transit. And I think if we do that, we should do inclusionary zoning to have true workforce and affordable housing. Now, I think they mean well. So I ask you in light of the housing and infrastructure study, which highlights our housing shortage and that the typical Black and Hispanic family can only afford to live in less than 1% of Nashville's neighborhoods, and in light of the recent Vanderbilt poll, which showed that 56% of residents support allowing multifamily housing everywhere in the city, and today, the Tennessee Court of Appeals ruling, which will not allow chime funds to be used to purchase land for housing, to please hurry up and allow more density and more types of housing in Nashville. Please be brave, please upzone, be bold. Let's invest in more community-controlled housing on Metro land. I also want to thank our great public servants at WeGo. Today, there was issues with WeGo Link, and they did an incredible job resolving it in under 2 hours. I ask that that the Connect Downtown plan that was finished over a year ago and that was needed to be finished before that we actually take the actions in that plan and that we fund the improvements for downtown Nashville. And also, I hope to see you on Saturday at Earth Day. Please ride the bus, the 3A, the 3B. You can take the 50, you can take the 75, you can take the 77, you can take a B-cycle. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our public comment period. Next on our agenda is section I, resolutions on public hearing. Spanish interpretation services are provided for all Metro Council public hearings. Council Office team member Karina Valdez is here as the interpreter. Ms. Valdez, will you please share how you can help?
Los servicios de interpretación en español estarán disponibles en la audiencia pública. Gracias.
Gracias, Ms. Valdez. We appreciate you. Okay, for those wishing to speak this evening as part of our public hearings, please do state your name, but it is not required for you to provide your address if you do not wish to do so. You may want to tell us in what neighborhood or area you live, who your council member is, and what your connection to the agenda item is. Okay. All right, first resolution on public hearing is RS 2025-1133, sponsor CAP. This is a resolution exempting Mama Bread located at 1600 Woodland Street from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit. Councilman Cap, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Yes, Chair of Government Operations and Regulations. Go ahead, Ms. Hill.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. We voted to approve, 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, thank you for that report. It's back to you, Mr. Cap.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With that, I move to open the public hearing.
Okay, I declare the public hearing open. Would all members of the public here in support of this resolution please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, do those folks here in support wish to speak? They are shaking their head no, Mr. Cap. And so with that, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on your resolution.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
Okay. Properly moved, properly seconded. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, this resolution has passed its first and final reading. Okay. Next is agenda item 2, RS 2025-1134, also sponsor CAP. This is a resolution exempting groceries, etc., located at 95 South 16th Street from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit. Mr. Cap, you're recognized again, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Chair Hill, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. We voted to approve, 7 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, back to you, Mr. Cap.
Move to open the public hearing.
Okay, I declare the public hearing open for this resolution 1134, sponsor CAP. Would all members of the public here in support of the resolution please raise your hand? Hello, folks, again. Would all folks here in opposition to this resolution please raise your hands? Seeing no one here in opposition, do those folks here in support wish to be recognized to speak? They are shaking their head no. Again, Mr. Cap, so I will declare the public hearing closed.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With that, I move approval.
Okay, is there a second? Properly moved and seconded. This is Resolution 1134. Anyone seeking to be recognized for discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, this resolution has also passed its first and final reading. Okay, that will conclude our public hearing items. Next, we will move into our consolidated consent agenda. All resolutions, this is section J of our agenda. All resolutions and second and third reading ordinances on this agenda are included on the consent agenda if recommended for approval unanimously by all committees to which the item was referred. Items on the consent agenda will be voted on at a single time. The item number, along with the resolution and ordinance number of the items on the consent agenda, will be read by me. Members of the council may remove any item from the consent agenda by request before the consent agenda vote is taken. Okay? All right, so this begins the reading of the items proposed for the consent agenda. First among those is agenda item 3, RS 2025-1123. Next is agenda item 4, Resolution 2025-1135. Agenda item 5, resolution 2025-1136. Agenda item 6, resolution 2025-1137. Agenda item 7, resolution 2025-1138. Agenda item 9, resolution 2025-1140. Agenda item 10, resolution 2025-1141. Agenda item 13, resolution 2025-1144. Agenda item 14, resolution 2025-1145. Agenda item 15, resolution 2025-1146. Agenda item 16, resolution 2025-1147. Agenda item 17, resolution 2025-1148. Agenda item 18, resolution 2025-1149. Agenda item 19, resolution 2025-1150. Agenda item 20, resolution 2025-1151. Agenda item 21, resolution 2025-1152. Agenda item 23, resolution 2025-1154. Agenda item 24, resolution 2025-1155. Agenda item 25, resolution 2025-1156. Agenda item 26, resolution 2025-1157. Agenda item 27, resolution 2025-1158. Agenda item 28, resolution 2025-1159. Agenda item 29, resolution 2025-1160. Agenda item 30, resolution 2025-1161. Agenda item 32, resolution 2025-1163. Agenda item 33, resolution 2025-1164. Agenda item 34, resolution 2025-1165. Agenda item 35, resolution 2025-1166. Agenda item 37, resolution 2025-1168. Agenda item 38, resolution 2025-1169. Agenda item 39, resolution 2025-1170. Agenda item 40, resolution 2025-1171. Okay, now we're moving to section M of the agenda, bills on second reading proposed for the consolidated consent agenda. First among those is agenda item 51, ordinance BL 2025-781. Agenda item 52, ordinance BL 2025-782. Agenda item 55, ordinance BL 2025-785. Agenda item 56, ordinance BL 2025-786. And now in section N of our agenda, bills on third reading that are proposed for the consolidated consent agenda. First among them, agenda item 57, ordinance BL 2025-705. Agenda item 58, ordinance BL 2025-720. Agenda item 59, ordinance BL 2025-721. Agenda item 60, ordinance BL 2025-728. Agenda item 61, ordinance BL 2025-730. Next, agenda item 64, ordinance BL 2025-749. Agenda item 65, ordinance BL 2025-750. Agenda item 66, ordinance BL 2025-754. Agenda item 67, ordinance BL 2025-755. Next is agenda item 74, ordinance BL 2025-764. Agenda item 75, ordinance BL 2025-765. Agenda item 76, ordinance BL 2025-766. Agenda item 77, ordinance BL 2025-767. Agenda item 78, ordinance BL 2025-768. Agenda item 79, ordinance BL 2025-769. Agenda item 80, ordinance BL 2025-772. Agenda item 81, ordinance BL 2025-773. Agenda item 82, ordinance BL 2025-774. Agenda item 83, ordinance BL 2025-775. Agenda item 84, ordinance BL 2025-776. Agenda item 85, ordinance BL 2025-777. Agenda item 86, ordinance BL 2025-778. And lastly, agenda item 87, ordinance BL 2025-779. All right. Do any items need to be removed from the consolidated consent agenda? If so, if members would please join the queue to request that. Okay, Councilmember Johnston, you're recognized.
Thank you. Agenda item 78, 2025-768, please.
Okay, Ms. Johnston has requested the removal from consent of agenda item 78. This is ordinance BL 2025-768. That has been removed from consent. Okay, are any other members seeking to be recognized to remove an item from the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, and Mr. Clerk, at this time, are all the committee reports in for the items that are on the consolidated consent agenda?
Yes, all committee reports are in.
Okay. In that case, pursuant to our new rules, can I have a motion for approval? Okay, properly moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, all items on that agenda have passed their various readings. Okay. So now we will go back in our agenda to resolutions that were not on consent. Okay, and first among those is agenda item 8, RS 2025-1139, sponsors Porterfield, Allen, and Gadd. This is a resolution adopting the revised fund balance reserve policies for the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County. Budget and Finance Chair Porterfield, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports. Budget and Finance voted on RS 2025-1139 and voted on the amendment, 11 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting, and as amended, 11 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. That was the only committee report, so I would like to move for approval and move the amendment.
Okay, there's a proper motion for approval and a subsequent motion properly seconded as well for the amendment. Let's then move on to the amendment and see if there's any discussion on that. Ms. Porterfield, do you want to share just briefly what the amendment does, please, ma'am? It's not necessary.
Okay, well, no.
Okay. All members received an email. I hope watched the Budget and Finance Committee yesterday with those slides and information. Seeing no one seeking discussion on the amendment, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, so it's back to you, please, for a motion as
Move for
amended.
approval as amended.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Isn't there any discussion on the resolution as amended? All right, Ms. Swara, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to stand, especially for the sake of the watching audience, in support of the resolution. I think it's very important for people to know why we are increasing the fund balance. Many of us that were here last time knew what happened when the controller came to visit us. But the area that I also wanted to stress for the public is because every time we're putting money away in the fund balance, people might be worried that we may not have enough to run the city. And so part of what this does is that it actually creates a caveat for when we have a lot of money to put more aside. And if we ever run into problem, for us to be able to lower it. And so that allows us to be able to take care of the business as we need to, but also to put money aside so that we're never running into problems. So this is a very good thing that will continue to help the city as we grow. It does not impact, actually helps us to serve better, if anything. So with that, I'm rising in support of the resolution. Thank you.
Okay. Is anyone else seeking to be recognized on the motion to approve this resolution as amended? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay. This resolution has passed. Next is agenda item 11. This is RS 2025-1142, sponsors Coupon, Porterfield, and Gamble. A resolution approving an intergovernmental. Oh, yes, ma'am. You're recognized. Please stand for a point of order.
I'm about to fall out. I don't remember number 9 being on the consent agenda, and because I was going to pull it off, so it wasn't articulated. Because I do have a question. It was? I mean, I was listening. I thought I was listening. Okay, well, never mind.
All righty. You're always welcome to ask the question. Okay, so we are back to agenda item 11. sponsor Coupon, Porterfield, and Gamble. This is a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County and the East Bank Development Authority. Councilmember Coupon, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Committee reports, please.
Okay, for the report of Budget and Finance, Chair Porterfield, please.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance considered RS 2025-1142 and voted 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for a 1 meeting deferral.
Okay, and for the report of the Planning and Zoning Committee, Ms. Gamble, you're recognized. I believe, I apologize, it was Vice Chair Rutherford. My apologies. Vice Chair Rutherford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. The Planning and Zoning Committee met and heard RS 2025-1142 and voted 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for a deferral of 1 meeting.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Coupon, as you know, this is a mandatory deferral by rule, 8.1. I will share, as I know you did in committee, that this matter will be deferred to our next meeting, 1 meeting, but it will also be taken up and discussed at the East Bank Committee, our ad hoc committee, on April the 17th that's a Thursday at 4 o'clock in Committee Room 1. Is that good? All right. All right. Moving on then. Agenda item 12, resolution 2025-1143, sponsors Vo, Porterfield, Gamble, Welsh, Allen, Ellis, Gadd, Swara, and Evans Siegel. This is a resolution approving Amendment 1 to a lease agreement by and between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Education and Conexión Americas. Ms. Vo, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Withdraw.
Okay, this item is withdrawn. All right, next is agenda item 22, resolution 2025-1153, sponsors Porterfield, Evans, Welsh, Allen, Ellis, Gadd, Swara, and Evans Siegel. This is a resolution approving an amendment to a contract between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department and the Mental Health Cooperative Clinical Personnel. Chair Porterfield, you're recognized.
Withdraw.
All right, this item is also withdrawn. That's Resolution 1153, withdrawn. Okay. Next is agenda item 31, resolution 2025-1162, sponsors Porterfield, Parker, Welsh, Allen, Gadd, Swara, and Evans Siegel. This is a resolution approving the execution of an amendment to the agreement between the Metro Government of Nashville and Davidson County and the Cumberland River Compact, amending their original grant contract and extending its term. Ms. Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports. Budget and Finance considered RS 2025-1162 and voted 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. For the amendment, 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting as amended.
Okay. And for the report of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Chair Parker, you're recognized. Oh, it was Mr. Horton. All you vice chairs doing such a good job, and then I'm forgetting to recognize you. Go ahead, Vice Chair Horton.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The Transportation and Infrastructure Committee considered RS 2025-1162. We voted 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for the amendment, and 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for the resolution as amended.
Okay, thank you,
for
sir.
approval.
Okay. Properly moved and seconded. The bill is now before us. Do you want to move your
the amendment.
Okay. Do you want to provide any explanation for the amendment?
I do not, but I can if someone has a question.
Okay. Again, colleagues, as always, this was discussed in committee. If you have questions, you're welcome once we get to the bill as amended. But is anyone else seeking discussion on the amendment, which I believe was properly moved and seconded? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, it's back to you for a motion.
Move as amended.
Okay. There's a motion to approve this resolution 1162 as amended. Is there any discussion on this resolution as amended? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay. 1162 has passed as amended. Okay, next is agenda item 36, RS 2025-1167. Sponsors Druffel, Allen, Lee, Cash, Gamble, and Swara. This is a resolution requesting the Metropolitan Department of Water and Sewerage Services make revisions to the Stormwater Management Manual to address stormwater drainage across Nashville and Davidson County by updating the infill tree credit and including multifamily structures as residential infill. Mr. Druffel, you're recognized, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Committee reports?
For the report of Transportation and Infrastructure, Vice Chair Horton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The committee considered the resolution and voted to defer one meeting, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, none in favor, so okay. All right, Mr. Druffel, by rule 8.1, that is a mandatory one meeting deferral, sir.
Right. We've
Okay.
waited 2.5 years. We're ready for another 2 weeks.
Okay, all right. So that will be deferred to our next meeting, the first meeting in May. All right, now we are going to be moving into bills on introduction and first reading. Without objection, all items on first reading may be voted on at the same time. Do any items need to be pulled from first reading consideration? Okay, Ms. Stiles, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Can we pull number 41, Bill 2025-811 off?
Okay, 41. And then just to clarify, members, Mr. Huffman, I know we had a rule amendment that is not applicable by rule until our next meeting, okay? So sufficient this time is Ms. Stiles' singular request to remove the item from first reading. Going forward at our next meeting, that will also require a second, okay? So that will be pulled from first reading consideration. Again, that is agenda item 41. Ordinance BL 2025-811, okay? Do any other items need to be pulled from first reading consideration? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion for approval of all the remaining items? So not agenda 41. Okay, properly moved and seconded. And so without objection, okay, you have approved all items on first reading, okay? With the exception of agenda item 41, which we will go back to now. This is, again, ordinance BL 2025-811, sponsors Sepulveda and Prep T. This is an ordinance modifying the structure of various boards and commissions to enhance operations. Pro Tem Sepulveda, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move for approval with a brief comment.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. This is some of the work that we've been doing with the working group that is looking at boards and commissions. Members, we usually don't pull bills on first reading for a reason. Why don't we pull bills on first reading? Because we don't have committee reports. We haven't had the opportunity to discuss them, have departments, have commissioners come and speak to them. At some point, you will be receiving letters from department heads, from commissioners, from these boards and commissions in support. So please look out for them. Until then, I would please ask you to approve this on first reading so we could discuss this thoroughly on second. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sponsor Sepulveda. Ms. Stiles, you are next in the queue. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. And to Councilmember Sepulveda's point, we do not usually pull things off of first reading unless there is a concern. I am not trying to pull this off entirely. What I'd like to do is defer it one meeting so that the rules meeting that is scheduled for tomorrow can take place. Any questions can be asked. We're not getting this after the fact and people having questions and then there are 1,000 amendments to it. Why not just start fresh and let this come before us for first reading for next meeting, after tomorrow's meeting? Any questions that people have? I think there have been many questions in regards to things that have taken place in this work group. This is our first opportunity tomorrow to hear the work and see the work on paper. So granted, there may be commissioners that are going to be reaching out, but I think the council should be abreast of anything first before we start getting supportive legislation we're supposed to vote on. So I would ask for a one meeting deferral on this bill, please, Vice Mayor.
Okay, so you are making a motion to defer one meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay, it is properly seconded. So what is before us now is a deferral motion. Chair Prep T, do you seek to be recognized? Go ahead, sir.
I was wavering as to whether or not I was going to be recognized.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah.
But it's more than all right. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to address my colleagues. Yes, as the council member stated, we'll be having our specially called rules meeting tomorrow evening. I think it'll be incredibly enlightening for this body. Also do want to sort of put it out there that this is that this specific piece of legislation would be amendable on second reading if given what is going to be stated tomorrow would inspire an amendment by a council member. So I don't necessarily have an opinion on the deferral, but just wanted to lay that out there. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing about your special meeting, which, as I understand, was deferred due to our weather issues. So that will be taken up tomorrow. Next is Pro Tem. You don't seek to be recognized on the deferral? Okay. Go ahead, Pro Tem. Recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. There are multiple board and commissions who are on this legislation who don't want us to wait for a very specific reason. There are quorum issues that they are currently having. One of them is the Human Relations Commission, the Arts Commission. We are reworking the sizes of those boards as well. We could continue with this process like we usually do. That's why we have the usual process. We could amend it on second. So I would encourage you all not to defer this one meeting and just vote against the deferral.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Ms. Allen, on the one meeting deferral motion, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I want to support the one meeting deferral simply because I would like to have more time to react to what we may learn at the meeting tomorrow night to start preparing on amendments and things like that. There are 7 committees represented here. There are far more than that have more than 11 members. So I'm not sure why these 7 were chosen at this point, and it would be helpful to me to know when the other ones are going to follow in sequence. I feel like there's more information that would be helpful to have, and that if we have this meeting tomorrow, then we've got plenty of time to be thinking ahead of time so that we're not immediately reacting at the next meeting on that. So I'm going to support the one meeting deferral. We've been working on this for a long time. I think we will get it right with all the careful work that's gone into it. I'm not sure that holding this off another 3 weeks is going to disturb those 2 committees that are having a hard time meeting at quorum. So I would support the deferral.
All right, thank you. Ms. Benedict, you're recognized on the motion to defer one meeting.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I speak against a deferral motion on this. Number one, this body, it's rather sophomoric of us to pull things off first reading again and again and again. That's not how this process has worked for years. We don't get analysis from the council staff until second reading. We have gotten into the habit this term of pulling things on first reading, and that does not allow our professional staff to give us the information that we need to then take action in committee and on the floor on second reading. I don't understand why we're doing this. I do not support a deferral for this and for anything else on first reading unless the sponsor wants to defer it. So with that, I ask that you also vote against the deferral. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Benedict. Ms. Weiner on the deferral.
Thank you. I wasn't sure I was going to say anything about this, but I'm not sure that I see a real reason to defer this. We have a Rules Committee meeting coming up tomorrow. It doesn't mean it's the only meeting that we can have. I think it's an opportunity, as long as we bring it in on first reading, that it's fully appropriate for us to have this discussion tomorrow and subsequent discussions if we see the reason to. So I'm not sure I'm going to support a deferral. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Evans on the deferral.
Previous question.
All right. Ms. Evans has called the previous question. Is there a second? Okay. This is a non-debatable motion that requires 2/3 of those voting. If you want to end debate on the motion to defer, you would vote in favor of calling the previous question. If you want to continue with debate on the motion to defer, you would vote against or no on the motion to call the previous question. All right. With that, we will move to the vote. All in favor of the previous question, please say aye. All against the previous question. Okay, that's pretty definitive. We will move to the vote, and this is first, colleagues, on the motion to defer one meeting. Okay, all in favor of the motion to defer one meeting, please say aye. Aye. All against the motion to defer one meeting, please say no. I didn't call that correctly. Let me think. All in favor? Okay, all opposed, please say no. Okay, any abstaining? Okay, folks, I apologize. I'm going to have to put that up to roll call. I can't tell the difference. I know it's just a motion to amend, but Mr. Clerk, would you please open the vote? It's a little too close for me to call. A motion to defer. I apologize. Motion to defer. One meeting. Okay, all votes are in. Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. Okay, the motion to defer has failed with 9 votes in favor, 28 against, and 1 abstention. So we are now back on the motion to approve that was properly seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion to approve? Ms. Stiles, do you seek to be recognized, or are you in the queue from before? Well, that's a point of order for which you need to stand, or a point of parliamentary inquiry. Oh, okay, so I need you to stand, say parliamentary inquiry, then I will recognize you. Got it.
Parliamentary inquiry, please.
Yes,
Vice
you're
Mayor?
recognized. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
so may I make a comment before we do the final vote? Or no, just general comment, not swaying in any direction?
We already voted.
No, we called the question on the motion to defer. We are back to the motion to approve. And so we are on discussion of the motion to approve. I can recognize you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Jeff. So while understanding our process and that we usually rubber stamp on first reading, I think there have been times, and maybe not every single time, that there have been legitimate concerns in regards to a bill. I think name calling is childish, but my concern regarding this is that we're in the process of working on legislation for a commission, and this comes forth, and it kind of, I don't know, it would potentially mess with the legislation that supposedly we're supposed to be working together to try and figure out. And so a deferral of one meeting kind of allows that to flow. And
we're on a motion to approve. So if you want to speak against the motion to approve, that's...
I will say no, and these will all be my reasons as to why. I am concerned if we are often saying, how do we work together? And then new legislation gets brought forth in the midst of working together. That doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. And I apologize. My head is not all together here. I had a death in my family, and I apologize.
I'm sorry.
But yes, so that is my concern, and I will be a no.
Thank you, Ms. Stiles. I'm sorry to hear that. Rather, regarding your family member, I'm sorry. Is there anyone else seeking discussion on the motion to approve ordinance 811 sponsors Sepulveda and Prep T on first reading? Okay, seeing no one else seeking discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no? Okay, any abstaining? Okay, this has passed its first reading. All right. Now on to second reading. Agenda item 48, ordinance BL 2025-760, sponsor Parker. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro Government of Nashville and Davidson County by changing from RS10 to R10 zoning for property located at 3101 Hillside Road, approximately 196 feet south of Broadmoor Drive. This is 0.2 acres. Mr. Parker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
Okay, properly moved and properly seconded. This is on second reading through just kind of an odder order of operations, so there's no committee report in place at this time. Is there anyone, it's properly moved and seconded, is there anyone seeking discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, this has passed second reading. Next is agenda item 49, ordinance BL 2025-770, sponsors Porterfield and Toombs. This is an ordinance amending chapter 2.40 of the Metro Code of Laws relative to the Department of Law. Councilmember Porterfield, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports. Budget and Finance consider Bill 2025-770 and voted 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for the amendment, and 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for the bill as amended. And I would like to move for approval on the bill.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. And now on the amendment.
It's not my amendment.
Oh, I apologize. Thank you, ma'am, for highlighting that. Okay, the bill is properly before us. And so now we are on to discussion. Ms. Benedict, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move my amendment.
Okay, Ms. Benedict has moved her amendment. Is there a second? Okay, Ms. Benedict, would you like to describe your amendment?
Sure. I'd actually like Director Darby to describe it.
Okay, Special Counsel Darby, you are recognized to share the details of Ms. Benedict's amendment to 770. Go ahead.
The amendment reduces one of the threshold amounts for the Department of Law to settle cases from $35,000 to $25,000 to be consistent with the rest of the resolution, the rest of the ordinance, excuse me. And further, it would require that if outside counsel is engaged in a legal matter, the report that the Department of Law regularly gives the counsel would include the hourly rate of the attorneys involved and also the total amount of funding paid. This would include the attorney's fees and their expenses.
All right. Back to you, Ms. Benedict.
Thank you, Director Darby. Thank you, Vice Mayor. So, colleagues, I brought those changes to the bill in consultation with Metro Legal. They are supportive of these changes. What it's going to do, my goal is to make sure our department heads are more engaged, ensure that engagement with settlements like this. I also, as Director Darby mentioned, lowered the amount from the original request. Metro Legal is okay with that as well. And then also, I think that piece on outside counsel is important for us. It's something we don't have visibility into today, so that also will help us as we look at expenses relative to settlements. So with that, I ask for your approval.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Benedict. So there is a motion to amend, properly seconded. You have heard the description of the amendment from both Special Counsel Darby and its sponsor, Ms. Benedict. Is anyone seeking discussion on the motion to amend? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or any abstaining? Okay, the amendment is on the bill, and then Ms. Porterfield, it's back to you for a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, ma'am.
Move for approval as amended.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on this ordinance as amended? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, this has passed its second reading as amended. Next is Agenda Item 50, Ordinance BL 2025-771. Sponsors Sepulveda, Prep T, and Parker. This is an ordinance amending Title 15 of the Metro Code of Laws to amend the membership and credential requirements of the Stormwater Management Commission. Pro Tem Sepulveda, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Okay, let's see. First, Chair Prep T for the report of the Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. The committee considered both the amendment and the bill as amended and voted 9 in favor, 0 against, and 0 not voting, respectively.
Okay. And for Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Vice Chair Horton. This is on Ordinance 771 regarding the bill and its amendment.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The Transportation and Infrastructure Committee considered BL 2025-771 and the amendment. We voted in favor of the amendment, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting, and the bill as amended, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, with those committee reports in, it's back to you, Pro Tem Sepulveda.
Move for approval.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, moving to that, and first to be recognized, Ms. Evans Siegel, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move the amendment.
Is there a second? Okay. There is a motion to amend, properly seconded. Do you seek to explain your amendment?
Very briefly, this just cleans up the way we describe the lawyer who is qualified to serve on the board to make sure that we get the right person in there without using unethical language to describe that person. It also takes it from the Nashville Bar Association, which is a voluntary board, which costs hundreds of dollars a year to join and doesn't really have an active environmental law section that's that big, to a mayoral appointment. So we can make sure that we get somebody who is qualified on there.
Okay. So you've heard a description of the amendment. There is a motion to amend that is properly seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion to amend? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay. It's back to you, Ms. What? You're waving your arms, Ms. Stiles. If you want to be recognized, you either have to stand up and speak out, Mr. Taylor. I'm having some difficulty seeing Ms. Stiles. You are not in the queue, Ms. Stiles. Why do you seek to be recognized? Okay, ITS, can you assist Ms. Stiles? She says she is pressing her button, but I see you now, Ms. Stiles. Okay. So I apologize. I believe where we are is we have voted on the motion to amend. And I was going back to Ms. Sepulveda, Ms. Stiles, to acknowledge her to get this properly before us. Would you wait to seek to be recognized for discussion on the bill as amended, or are you seeking a point of order or parliamentary inquiry? You need to say, Ms. Stiles, what you're seeking, and then I will know how to recognize you. Is this a point of order or a point of parliamentary inquiry? In which case, members, you do not have to get in the queue. You simply stand and say those words, and then I will acknowledge you. But I don't know what you're asking for, Ms. Stiles, so I'm not going to turn your button on yet. Okay. Point of order. You're recognized, Ms. Stiles.
I had waved my hand because you had asked if any was a no or an abstention, and I was an abstention. That was all.
Okay, thank you. That's a proper point of order. No worries. Mr. Clerk, would you please record Ms. Stiles as an abstention on the motion to amend? Okay. Pro Tem, it's back to you to get the bill before us as amended.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move for approval as amended.
Is there a second? Okay. Now, is there any discussion on this ordinance on second reading as amended? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, Ms. Stiles, you're seeking to abstain on the second reading? Okay, Mr. Clerk, if you would please record Ms. Stiles as an abstention on this bill as amended. Okay, this has passed its second reading as amended. Next is Agenda Item 53, Ordinance BL 2025-783, sponsored Toombs, Gamble, Parker, Gadd, Vo, and Swara. This is an ordinance authorizing the renaming of an unimproved portion of Tony Road to Lillard Lane. Ms. Toombs, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
For the report of the Planning and Zoning Committee, Vice Chair Rutherford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Planning and Zoning heard BL 2025-783 and voted to defer one meeting. That was 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, and for the report of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Vice Chair Horton.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The Transportation Infrastructure Committee considered BL 2025-783 and voted to defer one meeting, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, Ms. Toombs, as you know, that is a mandatory deferral by Rule 8.1. Okay, that will be deferred one meeting to the first meeting in May. All right, next is Agenda Item 54, Ordinance BL 2025-784, sponsors Welsh, Gamble, and Parker. This is an ordinance authorizing the renaming of a portion of alley number 1892 right-of-way from Meade Avenue to alley number 1917 to Frankie Alley. Sponsors Welsh, Gamble, and Parker. Ms. Welsh, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Okay, Chair Gamble, Vice Chair Rutherford for the report of the Planning and Zoning Committee, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Planning and Zoning heard BL 2025-784, voting to defer one meeting. That was 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, and for the report of Transportation and Infrastructure, Vice Chair Horton.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The Transportation Infrastructure Committee considered BL 2025-784 and voted to defer one meeting, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, Ms. Welsh, that is a mandatory one meeting deferral by Rule 8.1, and that will be taken up on its second reading at the first meeting in May. Okay. Now we are moving into third reading items that were not on consent. And first among those is our agenda items 62 and its companion bill, agenda item 63. This is ordinance BL 2025-739. And again, the companion -740. Sponsor Hancock. 739 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by applying a neighborhood conservation zoning overlay district to various properties located west of Neely's Bend Road and north of Longfellow Drive. This is zoned RS20 and R20. This is 211.13 acres. And then again, it's companion 740, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings applicable to 739. Ms. Hancock, you're recognized.
Committee reports, please.
Okay. First, for the report of the Planning and only for the report of the Planning and Zoning Committee from Vice Chair Rutherford, please.
Madam President, Planning and Zoning heard BL 2025-739 and 740, voting for a one meeting deferral, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for both bills.
Okay. With that, Ms. Hancock, that is a mandatory deferral by Rule 8.1, again, for both of these bills. So 62, it's companion 63, 739, 740. Both will be again on third reading at the first meeting in May. All right. moving along to agenda item 68. This is ordinance BL 2025-756, sponsor Coupon. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by amending the River North Urban Design Overlay District for various properties located on Cowan Street, Waterside Drive, Oldham Street, North First, River North Boulevard, Spring Street, and Cowan Court. This is 165.21 acres to update urban design standards related to structured parking and building materials. Mr. Coupon, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. Move approval.
Okay, so this bill is properly before us now, Mr. Coupon. And so it's back to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. Move the amendment.
Okay, there's a motion to amend, properly seconded. Anything that you would like to say about the amendment, sir?
Not unless there are questions.
Oh, thank you, Vice Chair. I do need
A committee report on the amendment would be spectacular. Thank you.
Vice Chair Rutherford, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you. Planning and zoning, her BL 2025-756 and 757. Voting 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting on the amendment, and 9 in favor, 0 against, and 0 not voting on the legislation as amended, and that is for both bills.
Okay, all right. So these bills are related, but for purposes of amending them, we're going to have to take them one at each time. But that's
Understood.
fine. I will acknowledge that committee report because they are related for both. Okay, but with that committee report in and a motion to amend properly before us and properly seconded, is there any discussion on the motion to amend 756? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to amend, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, so it's back to you for a motion to approve as amended.
Move as amended, please.
All right, is there a second? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the approval of 756 on third reading as amended, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, this has passed its third and final reading as amended. Next is agenda item 69, also sponsor Coupon. It's companion to 756. It is 757. So again, all the same streets, all the same acreage, but it requires certain materials be restricted in the construction of buildings in that area. And so, Mr. Coupon, you're recognized to get that before us.
Thank you, Madam President. Move approval.
Okay. We have already heard the report of Vice Chair Rutherford, and there's a second for the motion to approve. Okay. So it's properly before us. Move your amendment, please.
Move the amendment, please.
Okay. Is there a second on this amendment? Okay. Is there any discussion on the amendment or any questions about it? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to amend, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. Move the bill as amended, please.
Okay. There is a motion to approve as amended for 757 on its third and final reading. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any voting no or abstaining? Okay. 757 has passed its third and final reading as amended. Okay. Moving on, next is agenda item 70, sponsor Johnson. This is ordinance BL 2025-758. We also have its companion, Ms. Johnson. So I think what we'll do, because we have to amend it separately, we're only amending your first bill, and then we'll do a consolidated motion, okay? So for ordinance 758, this is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of Nashville and Davidson County by changing from R40 to SP zoning for properties located at 5633, 5637, 5639, 5645, 5651, 5661, 5665, 5655 Valley Road, approximately 960 feet south of Old Hickory Boulevard. This is 15 acres to permit 71 multifamily residential units, all of which is described herein. Ms. Johnston, you are recognized.
I'd like to move approval and get committee reports, please.
All right. There's a motion to approve. It is properly seconded. And the committee report we are needing is from Vice Chair Rutherford for the report of planning and zoning, sir.
That's just on the first bill, correct?
You can go ahead, sir, and give them both as you did last time, because in the end, we're going to take a consolidated motion. We got to amend it separately, though, to start. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
On 759 as well.
Planning and zoning, her BL 2025, 758 and 759. Voting 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting on the amendment, and 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting on the legislation as amended, and that is for both bills.
Okay. Already, so it's back to you, Ms. Johnson. What we have before us at present is a motion to approve on 758. Go ahead.
I'd like to move the amendment, please.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Do you want to describe the amendment? Okay. Are there any questions or discussions on the amendment? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the motion to amend, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, we're back to you for a consolidated motion on 758. It's companion 759, which is regarding materials in 758 as amended, please, ma'am.
Move approval.
Okay, is there a second? Is there any discussion on that consolidated motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, so 758 has passed its third and final reading as amended, as has the companion 759. Okay. Next is agenda item 72, ordinance BL 2025-762, sponsor cash. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro Government of Nashville and Davidson County by changing from CS to SP zoning for property located at 2908 12th Avenue South at the northeast corner of Kirkwood Avenue and 12th Avenue South. This is 0.33 acres to permit non-residential uses. Mr. Cash, its companion, which we will take up afterwards in a consolidated motion once you amend 762, is Bill 763, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings as outlined in 762. Go ahead, sir, you're recognized.
Thanks. Committee reports.
Okay. Committee reports for the Planning and Zoning Committee, Vice Chair Rutherford. I think you know the deal at this point. We got companions and amendments, and just give it to us all at once. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Planning and zoning met and considered BL 2025-762 and its companion 763, voting 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting on the amendment, and 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting on the legislation as amended, and that is for both bills.
Okay. Thank you for that report, Vice Chair. So, Mr. Cash, it is back to you to get 762 before us, please, sir.
I'd like to move 762.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. Now we're on to discussion. Mr. Cash, would you like to make a motion to amend, sir?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I move to amend.
Properly moved and seconded. Anything that you need or want to say regarding this amendment, sir?
It's a simple amendment that enumerates the conditions of the SP and asks for a valet plan before use and occupancy.
Okay. Alrighty. You've heard the description of the amendment. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, so it's back to you, Mr. Cash, and if you could now kind of renew your motion, but consolidate them, please, with 762 approval as amended with its companion 763, please, sir, for approval.
Yes. Move 762 and 763, please.
Okay, is there a second for that motion? Okay, it's properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on 762 as amended and 763 for approval on their third and final reading? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, those have passed their third and final reading. Next is agenda item 78. This is sponsored Johnston, ordinance BL 2025-768. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro Government of Nashville and Davidson County by changing from RS 15 to R15 zoning for property located at 5405 Hill Road Circle, approximately 264 feet north of Hill Road. This is 0.64 acres. Ms. Johnston, you're recognized.
Thank you. I'd like to move approval with committee reports, please.
Okay, it's properly moved and seconded. For the report of the Planning and Zoning Committee, Vice Chair Rutherford, you're recognized.
Planning and Zoning heard BL 2025-768, voted 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting for recommending approval.
Okay, it's back to you, Ms. Johnston.
Thank you. So this is the situation that I explained to everyone, I think it was last meeting, where this particular parcel 5 years ago was downzoned. They had opted out of the downzone. And so they 5 years later realized that it was downzoned. My community is incredibly against this. So the only way that I could reconcile with myself from an ethical perspective of what to do is to bring forth the legislation, but I will be voting against it. I don't represent a singular constituent. I represent my community at large, and the community at large is very much against this. So it is now in your hands to vote as you see fit. But that's my explanation for where we're at with this. Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion to approve. It's properly seconded. You have heard an explanation from the sponsor. Is there any discussion on this bill? Go ahead, Ms. Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. If we could ask for just a very brief recap of why the community was against it. I don't recall from last meeting why they were against it.
Okay, I'm happy to recognize Ms. Johnston again for clarification. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. So this is an area around Granbury Elementary. It's a horseshoe-shaped street called Hill Road Circle. That area has a lot of neighbors that have been there for decades and decades. They are single-family homes. There is a creek that runs through there, so they do have some flooding issues. But they very much appreciate a part of the charm of that area is the single-family zoning. And so they are against upzoning that would allow a tear down and a build of probably 2, maybe tall and skinnies, but at least 2 stories in an area that does not have 2-story homes, really. And so it would stand out definitely in the community as something that does not belong if this was to happen. And so I received emails and phone calls and social media, and people are very much upset about it. Some of these homes have been in families for generations. So they're just very protective of that. So.
Okay, Ms. Porterfield, does that address your issue? Okay, so we're continuing with discussion on the motion to approve. Mr. Cash, you're recognized.
I'm just curious if you could ask the sponsor, does the property owner live on the property now?
Ms. Johnston, it's back to you.
It's my understanding that this particular house has been a rental for quite some time. The neighbor does live in the area on Hill Road, but has not lived in the home for quite some time, and it is being used as a rental at this point.
Okay. Mr. Cortez, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Question for the sponsor. Are there any other lots on the street that have been rezoned?
Ms. Johnston, you're recognized.
All of the other houses on that street were downzoned 5 years ago at the behest of the neighbors. So 5 years ago, then Councilmember Swope, this used to be in District 4. And so we did a joint, because that's where our districts blended together. So we did a joint downzoning, and we did give the opportunity for people to opt out. And there were just a handful of people. The vast majority of people came to us because they saw that that was starting to happen, where they were tearing down and building tall, which is out of character, as you know, because you're in that area. And so they wanted to prevent that and protect their neighborhood. And so that downzoning happened 5 years ago.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Evans Siegel, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to make sure my recollection of this is correct. And so I was wondering if the sponsor could answer for us. Is this the one where it was zoned R15 5 years ago, and Councilmember Swope told them they would have R15, but then it became RS15 without them actually realizing that was happening.
Ms. Johnson, you're recognized to clarify. And again, I would ask that I know last time we ascribed a certain intent to Mr. Swope in that regard. I know that was not your intent last time, but he's not here to speak for himself.
yes.
So I think we want to presume it was sort of a clerical something, but I'll
Yes,
put it.
I did not mean to imply an intent to Councilmember Swope, just that there was, is this the one where there was an email from him telling them they would say R15?
Okay, I appreciate that clarification from last time. Go ahead, Ms. Johnson.
They emailed Councilmember Swope asking to be removed from the down zoning. He replied back and said that it would be. I have no idea what happened after that. But they were in fact down zoned against their wishes. It is incumbent upon people to make sure that when they are in that situation, to make sure that their property is being handled the way that they should. And this was 5 years ago. And so that just shows the intent. I think the intent that if it's being used as a rental will probably be sold to a developer, and that's what it's about, in my opinion.
All right. Ms. Welsh, you were last in the queue for discussion. You're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I don't really think that it matters that this property is being used as a rental. I think the property owner trusted their council member to do whatever and just assumed it was. I can tell you that most people don't think about what they are zoned until they want to make a change. So there's no reason for them to have assumed that they would not have been removed from that list. They are the property owner, and they do have a right to do what they want with their property. They didn't ask for this to happen, and now at a time when they finally decided to use the option of what the zoning they thought they had offered them, they're being told that that's not an option. I just feel like that is encroaching on their rights as property owners, and so I think that we should approve this because this is what the property owner wanted, and they have a right to do with their property what they want to do. This rectifies an unfortunate mistake, but it was a mistake, and I think it's incumbent upon us to rectify that mistake. So I would say that we should absolutely support this upzone for this property owner. Thank you.
Okay. I'll allow it, Ms. Johnson. Let's wrap it up, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so I don't disagree with anything that anybody has said. This is what I have struggled with because something did not go right 5 years ago, which is why I'm putting it forth. I also represent my community, and so I'm going to vote in the way that my community wants me to. But that's why I said, congratulations, you guys get to go this through this with me and vote your conscience. And I could argue both sides of it all day long. Honestly, it's just a really tough situation to be in.
All right, that concludes our discussion. This item is on third reading, colleagues. We know that there is a no vote. That means we must do a roll call, okay? And so with that, Mr. Clerk, if you would please load the vote. And it does require 21 to pass, okay, to clarify. So Title 17 bill on third reading requires 21 votes to pass. Is anyone else seeking to vote? Mr. Clerk, are all votes in? Okay, all votes are now in. Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. All right, this ordinance has passed its third and final reading with 24 votes in favor, 12 votes no, and 3 abstentions. All right. That concludes this evening's agenda. Our next regular council meeting will be on Tuesday, May the 6th, but before that day, we will convene a special meeting of the council on Thursday, May 1st at the Downtown Library to hear from Mayor O'Connell and the state of the Metro government. Is there a motion to adjourn? We are adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.